So it is soon to be the holidays. Yay! I'm so excited. So happy holidays, everyone. I'm wearing my holiday shirt so far. Naughty but nice. 'Cause it's cute. So yeah, I want to wish everybody happy holidays. The videos may come out a little bit slower, but I'm going to try my best to release them daily. Sorry for missing again yesterday. But I had family over and, you know, just little Christmassy things going on. But I will be heading out of town. I'll be going to Pennsylvania to spend Christmas with my husband's mom. And I will be taking my YouTube stuff, so I'm going to try to pre-record quite a few videos. So if you see me in the same shirt, that's why. So then that way I don't have to record them. I can just kind of post them while I'm gone. So in this video, we will be picking up where we left off in The Rise of Nine by Pittacus Lore on chapter 23. Let me move my bookmark. I got a new one. It's cute. It's a little magnetic one. It says, Mentally in Another Galaxy, which is so perfect for this book since we're dealing with aliens. Okay, without further ado, here is Reading by Reed, chapter 23, The Rise of Nine by Pittacus Lore. Okay, chapter 23. I come to face down in wet grass. I lift my head and press my palms onto the ground to get my shoulders up. I hear 8 groan from somewhere nearby. Ella calls my name, but my head throbs too much for me to sit up and look for her. 6? I whisper into the air. Are you here? I don't see her anywhere, Marina, Ella says, coming over and sitting down next to me. I lay my cheek back down on the grass and allow myself to just lie there for a few more minutes. Ella brushes a lock of hair off my cheek, but I'm numb and don't feel a thing. Sickness rises in my throat as I hear 8 continue to groan. Ella seems unaffected. I never want to teleport again. I look around. My vision keeps doubling and I struggle to bring it under control. Based on how green and lush it is, it's obvious we didn't land where we intended. This isn't New Mexico, is it? Not even close, Ella whispers. I finally feel as if I can move, I'll bet slowly. And I look up at Ella. Her brown eyes are hard to read in the darkness. Then I register it must be the middle of the night. I look past Ella and into the starry sky. I flash back to the blue ocean, to 8 turning into a black octopus. Then I remember what Ella said just before we teleported. Ella, did I imagine it, or did you say you talked to 6? She nods. With your mind, right? Ella looks away. I'm sure you think I'm nuts. I keep asking myself if it really happened. Maybe I just wanted it so badly. Ella shakes her head and looks down at me, her face serious. No, I did not imagine it. I know I spoke to her. She said she was in a desert. That must mean she made it to New Mexico, right? Ella, you're not crazy. I believe you, and I think you're right, I say, pressing my fingers against my pounding temples, willing away the pain and the fuzz that keeps me from thinking clearly. You must be developing a legacy. What we need to do now is figure out how it happened that time, so we can do it again. Ella's eyes widen. Really? You think it's a legacy? What's it called? She asks eagerly. Telepathy. 8's voice comes from behind me. I roll over, grimacing from the pain, and look up at 8, who's standing on a huge stone slab held up by 2 even larger gray boulders. I sit up, roll over onto all 4s, and get unsteadily to my feet. Hands on hips, I turn around and realize this place looks awfully familiar. But it isn't because I've been here before. I know this place from all the pictures, from textbooks. I look back up at 8. Are we seriously at Stonehenge? Oh, yeah. Wow, I whisper, slowly turning around again to survey the scene. Ella walks over to a stone that must be 25 feet high, her head tipped back as she drags her hand across the surface. Isn't it incredible? She says. I understand the impulse to reach out and touch it. I mean, it's Stonehenge. I can't help but join her. The stones are cold and smooth, and just touching them makes me feel like I'm 3,000 years old. Some are in perfect shape, while others... Sorry about that. Some are in perfect shape, while others look like they must be mere shards of what they used to be. We all wander around for a while, seeing up close what most people only ever see in textbooks. 8. What is telepathy exactly? Do you know how to use it, and how can I... Oh, sorry, wrong voice. 8. What is telepathy exactly? Do you know how to use it, and how can I control it? Ella asks. Telepathy is the ability to transfer thoughts from one being to another. You're able to communicate with someone else's brain. Go ahead, try it with me. Ella circles around and comes to a stop in front of 8. She closes her eyes. As I watch, all I can think is how amazing it would be if Ella has developed this legacy. It would allow us to connect the guard, no matter where any of them are. Anywhere in the world. After a few seconds, Ella opens her eyes and looks at 8. Did you hear me? I didn't, 8 says, shaking his head sadly. You just need to keep trying. It always takes time to figure out how to work with our legacies. Telepathy will be no different. Her shoulders sag in disappointment anyway. Your chests are over there, by the way, she says, pointing. 8 turns to me, stretching from side to side. I just need a little more time to recover from that last one. I want to be as strong as possible when we try again for New Mexico, okay? He climbs up on a nearby rock. I don't know, I sigh. I felt so horrible when I came out of that last one. Injuries are one thing. Teleporting makes me feel sick. I don't know if I can do it again. And what's to stop us from ending up back at the bottom of the ocean? Meanwhile, it sounds like 6 is in serious trouble, and we're bouncing around from place to place. We may never land in New Mexico. I know, 8 says, hopping down from a stone and brushing off the dust from his pants. I know how frustrating this is, but doing something is better than nothing, and the only thing we can do is keep trying until we get where we need to go. We 3 will stick together. We will keep trying, and we will find 6. I don't know where he gets his calm, his conviction. Ella wanders off behind a grouping of stones as I say, you know, there are other ways of getting from one place to another. We could just find an airport and fly there from here. 8 scratches his chin, deep in thought as he starts to walk. I follow him to the center of the monument. If 6 really is in trouble, an airplane isn't the solution. It would take us forever to get to her. He stops for a minute and turns to face me. Besides, I see us finding her. I look at him quizzically, but he just grins and shrugs. What does he mean? 8. Did you have a vision? What else did you see? Who else did you see? He shrugs. I can't really tell you more than that. I just see it, or I feel it. I think it's a legacy I haven't figured out yet. The only way I can describe it is that it feels like a sixth sense. Is that how you knew we were coming to India? I ask. Yeah, he says. I don't have any control over it. These flashes, images, just come to me. We continue to walk through the group of massive stones and find Ella off by herself, sitting against a rock. When we approach, she looks up and says, I keep trying to talk to 6 again, but nothing happens. Maybe it never did happen. I kneel beside her and put my arm around her shoulders. Legacies take time, Ella. I know when mine appeared for the first time, it was usually when I was upset or in danger. They come at a time when they're of the most use, when they might save us. My legacy that allows me to breathe underwater came as I almost drowned. Also, the teleporting may have affected you, so maybe it will take a while to work again. I give her shoulders a squeeze. It's true. The first time I teleported, 8 says, my C-Pan was about to get run over by a taxi. I just appeared next to him like that. He snaps his fingers. It's the only reason I was able to pull him out of the way. I miss Creighton so much right now, Ella says. He always helped me with this stuff. What if I'm never any help to the guard? Sometimes I wish I was never chosen by the elders. Her voice trails off and she slumps down, looking absolutely dejected. Ella, 8 takes a step forward. Ella, look at me. You can't think that way. We are so happy you're here. We need you. If you weren't here, we would be looking for you. You are exactly where you should be. Right, Marina? Ella, do you remember what we used to say back in the orphanage? We are a team. That means something important. We take care of each other. As I'm talking, I realize that my aversion to teleporting is selfish. The only hope we have of finding the others is by getting to New Mexico. The safest, fastest way to get there is by teleporting, even if it means landing in the wrong place a few more times. I will not allow my fear to endanger anyone. When one of us is weak, the rest of us need to be that much stronger. I give Ella's shoulder another squeeze. We will get to New Mexico, find 6, and we will continue to fight. Ella nods but remains quiet. We all wander off, lost in our thoughts. I know I need some time to clear my head, to be as strong mentally as I feel physically, before we move on. This place is so peaceful, and it's so quiet, that it's the perfect setting in which to think. An hour or so later, I walk into the center of the circle to see 8 leaning down and picking a stone up before dropping it. 8! What do you think you're doing? I yell, alarmed. Do you remember where we are? This is a sacred, historic, ancient place. You can't just kick rocks around. Put them back where they were. Before he even has a chance to return the stones, I use my telekinesis to do it myself. I want to leave this place exactly as we found it. 8 looks up at me, surprised by my anger. I'm looking for the Lorelite stone. I know it's half buried around here, under one of these stones, and we have to find it if we're going to go anywhere, 8 says. Well, just make sure you put them back exactly where you found them when you're done looking, I grumble. Stonehenge is one of the most famous places on Earth. Let's not ruin it. I'm tired of leaving destruction behind. 8 makes a big show of peeking delicately under a rock and returning it gently to its place. I would just like to say that Stonehenge is only here in the first place because of the Lorik. Reynolds said we built it as a cemetery for those who died fighting on Earth. Really? This is a graveyard? Ella asks, walking up behind me and looking around curiously. It was, 8 says, patting a large boulder, for thousands of years at least, and then humans started poking around, doing all that research they love so much. There's nothing like a quest to understand everything, even if there's nothing to know. Whatever. I will honor the placement of the rocks. He continues to move as if tiptoeing through a bed of tulips. Let me help. I walk carefully among the stones, helping 8 look for the Lorelite, floating several rocks inches above the ground before setting them back down exactly as they had been. As I move on to another group of stones, I hear shouts in the distance. I lean around a stone to see 2 men in uniforms running towards the monument, flashlight beams bouncing in the darkness. Ella and I duck behind the biggest, closest rock formation. Shoot, I whisper. Everybody hide. We can see the beams from their flashlights scan the ground, and whenever one gets close to us, we shift our position around another stone just in time. I know I heard something out here. Kids' voices. The smaller of the 2 guards says. Okay, well, where are they? The other guard asks, looking around. There's a distinct note of disbelief in his voice. Both men are silent for a moment. I peek around the stone to see the larger guard looking around, annoyed by the lack of evidence of intruders. Then something catches his eye, but I can't see what it is. I'm worried. What could he have found? Bill, come over here and look at this. Where do you think these came from? Huh? Don't know. They sure weren't there earlier, the other says. I nearly jump out of my skin when 8 materializes next to me. They found our chests, he whispers. I'll just toss the guards into the pasture, okay? We need to find the Lorelite so we can get the hell out of here, and that's not going to happen until those guys leave, and I am not letting them leave with our chests. His voice is grim. I'm about to say no when my brain begins to buzz. After a brief echo of static, I hear Ella's voice in my head. I can distract them while you find the Lorelite. I look over at her in shock, eyes wide. Ella squeezes my hand and whispers, I can distract them. I already heard you. I interrupt. Ella, I heard you in my head. She smiles widely. I thought it worked this time. Wow, I did it, she whispers excitedly. Hey, you 2, keep it down. 8 whispers. Do we have a plan? I have an idea, Ella responds, shrinking herself into a 6-year-old. She runs wide, out past the outer circle of the stones, then walks back towards the men. She puts on her best little girl voice as she calls out, "Daddy, where are you?" "Hello?" one of the guards calls back. "Who's out there?" 8 teleports away while I watch Ella. She's standing still, shielding her eyes from their flashlights. She's quite the actress. She sounds legitimately lost and worried. "I'm looking for my daddy. Have you seen him?" "What in the world are you doing out here, little girl? Where are your parents? Do you know what time it is?" As they approach her, Ella starts to sob, stopping the men in their tracks. Now, just calm down. No need for tears," the larger one says in a soothing tone. Ella turns up the waterworks and says louder now, "Don't touch me!" Hey, nobody's touching you," the other says in alarm. They're looking at each other, both confused and at a loss to what to do with her. "Psst, Marina," 8 whispers. He's behind me with a chest under each arm. "We have to find the Lorelei, now. She can't hold their attention forever." We run into the center of Stonehenge. 8 and I start checking under every rock we can find as quickly as we can. There are only a few left to check when we hear the men coming back towards us, Ella in tow, still sniffling. "Okay, I think it's time for another distraction," 8 says, disappearing again. He reappears by the outer circle of stones, plants his hands on an upright slab, and pushes hard. All I can do is watch in horror, frozen to the spot. The huge stone wobbles and slowly tips backwards. Then the horizontal slab on top falls too. And that's when 8 starts yelling, "Help! Help! The stones are falling over! Stonehenge is falling down!" I will kill him. I clench my fists at my side, which is when I realize I still have a small rock in my hand. I lean down and carefully, pointlessly, return it to its spot. The guards break into a sprint towards 8's voice, and when their flashlights catch the falling stones, they scream in panic. The smaller guard runs to get in between 2 vertical stones, but it's too late. They connect and collectively tip to the right. The horizontal slab that was over them lands on the ground with a thud. My mouth falls open as the stones tip, one by one, going over like dominoes. "Code black! Code black!" The large guard screams into his walkie-talkie, then tosses it to the ground. He wraps his arms around one of the massive vertical stones remaining upright, trying with all his might to stop it from going over with the others. But it's pointless. The massive stones keep falling. 8 appears back by me and tips over 2 small stones, and suddenly a faint blue glow lights up his legs. "I found it! Over here!" he whispers excitedly. I'm relieved to hear he's found the Lorelei, but I'm too focused on the demolition of Stonehenge to be excited. I can't believe he did this. I'm furious. Ella runs past me as I dart under one of the few slabs still in place and use my telekinesis to slow down the boulders in motion. The larger guard slams his back against a stone that's next in line to tip, and the other guard joins him. I wrap my mind around their stone and hold it steady. When it's hit with another falling boulder, I don't let it tip. The guards slide away from the stone and fall to the grass, shocked by their sudden show of strength. Next, I reverse the domino effect so the fallen boulders push each other back up, and I stabilize them in their original positions. Then, using what little strength I have left, I slowly lift the horizontal slabs off the ground and set them back on top of the boulders. The guards watch all this, mouths agape, too stunned to respond to the crackling, concerned voices squawking from their walkie-talkies. "Marina," Ella whispers. "Hey, Marina, we need to go now. Come on." I walk backwards towards the center of the monument, relieved and able to leave, now that I've managed to put everything back together. I stalk over to 8 and yank my chest from him, still furious and unable to look at him. I grab hold of his hand. Ella carries 8's chest while clinging to his other hand. We stand, joined together, over the blue Lorelei. The last thing I hear before the darkness comes is the larger guard, defeated and ready to be done with this particular adventure, responding into his retrieved walkie-talkie. False alarm. Chapter 24. I hide behind a row of lockers in a long, dark hallway when I turn visible. The pain and nausea from using my legacies is so intense I curl myself up into a ball, pressing the 2 batons into my ribs to get some relief. I push my sweaty head against the cool cement wall and try to catch my breath, hoping the sickness will subside quickly. I've been going up and down hallways, but I worry I'm just running in circles. So far, I've found an empty hangar and a lot of electronically locked doors. I know from when Sam and John were caught by the police before that our telekinesis doesn't work with electricity. I think about John and Sam, Marina and the others. I hope they're okay, or at least in less pain than I am. I picture John and Sam waiting for me at our rendezvous point. We were supposed to meet there in a few days. What will they think when I'm not there? I'm so frustrated and scared. I feel breathless. I know this kind of thinking isn't helpful, so I try to refocus my attention on how to get the hell out of here. Almost on cue, an alarm sounds. The bleeding overhead feels relentless as soon as it begins. I know what this means, and I know I need to get it together. Fast. Everyone is looking for me. Armed soldiers zip down the long hallways in small open vehicles. Each time one passes, I'm tempted to pluck the men out, hop in, and take off. But I'm sure I wouldn't get very far, and I'd give up the one advantage I have right now. They don't know where I am. I've stopped trying to communicate with Ella. Clearly, I was just delusional. I'm on my own. I need to stop talking to myself and find something to blast through a door and get out of here. I think I'm underground. I just wish I knew how deep. The lights go on in the hallway. As I discovered earlier, I know this means the motion sensors have been triggered. A moment later, I hear a vehicle coming my way. I clench my stomach, turn invisible, and get the anticipated retch of pain. Tears flowing down my face from the agony, I press myself up against a wall and watch the cart crawl towards me carrying 3 soldiers. As it passes in front of me, I hit the driver in the face with one of the batons. Man, do head wounds bleed a lot. Nose, mouth, forehead, all gushing geysers. His seemingly spontaneous injury causes him to slam his foot on the gas pedal and veer straight into a wall. The driver is out cold, and the other 2 soldiers spill onto the cement floor. They take in the driver's face, and seeing absolutely nothing around that might have caused it, grab for their walkie-talkies. But I'm expecting this, and I've stepped into position to slam the closest man's head into the hood of the vehicle and kick his legs out from underneath him. The 3rd soldier starts over to see what happened, and I slam his head down too. Then I grab one of their badges and run. I need to figure out where to go from here, and I need to do it fast. I can't stay invisible too much longer. I use the swiped badge to get past an electronically locked door and find myself in a hallway completely different from the others I've seen so far. I have to stop the nausea and pain, so I turn visible and immediately feel relief. I look around and try to figure out where I am. The hall is wider than the others, with a high ceiling that's domed and carved out of sandstone. 2 thick yellow pipes crawl along the ceiling, flanked by drooping electrical lines. I come to a turn in the hallway and peek around the corner. I don't see anyone, so I flatten my back against the wall and ease around the corner. I'm facing a red door with a sign that reads, "Danger. Authorized personnel only. Shuttle 1." I try using my telekinesis to open the door, pushing through the pane, but another electric lock keeps it shut. I'm about to try the badge again when I hear footsteps coming fast in my direction. I turn invisible again, but it doesn't make my stomach churn so violently. But it makes my stomach churn so violently I fall to the floor. I can't survive another round of this. No way. Around the corner, someone yells, "I think I hear something this way!" From the ground, barely able to stay invisible, I grab a guard by the ankle as he runs by. He goes face down onto the floor, giving me enough time to swipe my stolen badge through the electronic lock. The door pops open and I slip inside. I'm on a grated metal platform high above 3 sets of train tracks that disappear down a circular tunnel. A 3-car tram, plastered with several different symbols of the U.S. government, sits empty on the set of tracks closest to the platform. Outside the door behind me, I hear the guard I disabled yelling to a group of men who have just arrived on the scene. I stumble down a narrow set of stairs and jump inside the open doors of the tram, pulling down on the first lever I see. My head snaps back as the tram takes off like a rocket. The circular tunnel blurs with red lights and long, dark shadows, and twice I zip under grated platforms like the one where I entered without slowing down. The tracks suddenly dip and curve to the right, and then I'm rolling high over a long canal filled with water. I'm hoping this will shoot me out into the desert. Instead, the tram slows down and stops below another platform. There must be points at which there are automatic stops. The doors open, and I jog up the stairs. I've let myself turn visible again, and appreciate how pain-free my stomach is. Knowing it won't stay that way for too much longer, I'm going to need my legacies to get out of here. I take a deep breath and carefully try the door at the top of the stairs. It's unlocked. Slowly, I open it just a crack to peek and see what is on the other side. My eyes have barely focused when the door is slammed open, clipping my shoulder painfully. I am now face to face with a guard with a familiar weapon hanging from his shoulder, a Mogadorian cannon. As soon as the guard reaches for it, the cannon buzzes to life with a spark of lights, but before he can press the trigger, I dive at him, and we crash into the stone wall. The guard rushes forward and tries to grab me by wrapping his thick arms around my waist. Instead, I move just out of his reach and tackle his legs, pulling them out from under him. His skull makes a horrible cracking sound when it hits the ground. I cringe, but I can't stop to think about it. I quickly shove his body just through the door into the tunnel and close it. I grab his cannon and bolt. I look around to get my bearings. There are enormous, smooth columns holding up the ceiling of the winding tunnel, and I weave in and out of them, keeping an ear out for more guards. My mind is racing, sorting through what I've seen, trying to piece it together. First on the list, why did that soldier have a Mogadorian cannon? Did he get it from a captured Mog, or are the Mogs supplying them? Supplying the government with their weapons? The tunnel forks, and I slow, trying to decide which way to go. I see nothing to help me choose, so I think of the last time I encountered a fork in a road. It was in the Himalayas, the one that surprised Commander Sharma. I go left. The first door I spot on the left is all glass. Through it I can see scientists in white coats and masks moving around what looks like large gardens brimming with tall green plants. Hundreds of powerful bright lights hang low over them from the ceiling. A red-haired woman in a dark suit enters through another door and walks over to one of the guys in a white coat at the front of the room. Her right arm is in a sling and she has bandages on her cheek. She watches the scientist pour a vial of liquid over a section of the closest garden. I am stunned to see the plants instantly grow several feet taller and their tips split open. White vines spread in every direction, creating a thick canopy over their heads. The scientist writes something on his clipboard and then looks up to talk to the woman. I don't have time to duck out of the way, and we make eye contact through the glass door. I slowly raise the Mog cannon at him and shake my head. I have to hope he considers himself a non-combatant and wants to stay out of the action. No such luck. I watch him slip his hand into his pocket. Damn, he's triggering something. There's a noise over my head and a thick sheet of metal nearly hits me as it falls in front of the glass door, protecting it. Alarms sound and I know the whole area is going into lockdown. I can't get captured. I brace myself for the pain about to take over my body and make myself invisible. Just in time, soldiers pour into the tunnel and I inch along the wall to avoid them. The pain and the wave of sickness doesn't come. Whatever drug they gave me must have worn off. The relief I feel is profound, though I don't have time to enjoy it. A door clicks open on my right. Without thinking, I jump through it and find myself in a narrow white hallway lined with more doors. Halfway down the hall, a lone soldier is backing out of one of them. "Please, just shut up already," he calls into the room, "and you should really eat something." He pulls the door shut and starts to turn and walk away. But I'm right there and drop him with a right hook to the jaw. I see his keys hanging from his belt, pull them off and frantically shove them into the lock of the door he'd just closed, one after another until I find the one that works. I'm guessing whoever he was talking to is no friend of his, and I could use an ally right now. I push the door open to see if today is the day I make a new friend. I suck in my breath, shocked at what I see. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't the girl I see cowering in the corner. She's covered in grime and there are thick red welts on her wrists, but I recognize her instantly. Sarah Hart, John's girlfriend, and the one who turned John in to the police the night we went back to Paradise. She pulls herself shakily to her feet, using the walls on either side for support. She is steadying herself to face whoever walks through the door. The fear in her eyes tells me only bad things happen when the door opens. I remain invisible long enough to drag the unconscious soldier from the hall inside the room. Leaving him just invites others to investigate, and I don't need any company. I shove him into a corner, hoping that he's out of sight if there are cameras in here. I close the door. "Sarah?" I say quietly. She spins around, looking towards my voice, but visibly confused. "Who is that? Where are you?" "It's 6, I whisper. She gasps quietly. "Number 6? Where are you? Where's John?" she asks, her voice shaking. I'm still speaking softly, not sure if we're alone. "I'm invisible. Just sit back down like you were and pretend I'm not here. Put your head down so we can talk. I'm betting they have you on camera." Sarah sinks back down into the corner, pulling her knees to her chest. She lowers her head, her hair falling forward and blocking her face entirely. I walk over and sit down next to her on the floor. "Where's John?" she whispers. "Where's John?" I can't keep the anger out of my voice. "Right now, you can forget about John, Sarah. You should know where John is. After all, you set him up, right? Because of you, he went to jail, and then I got him out. But what I want to know is, what are you doing here?" "They brought me here," she says, her voice trembling. "Who brought you here?" Sarah's shoulders shake as she cries softly into her knees. "The FBI. They keep asking me where John is, and I keep telling them I don't know. You need to tell me where he is. I have to tell them, or they're going to kill everyone I know." She sounds desperate. I can't say I'm very sympathetic. "That's what happens when you switch sides, Sarah. You knew how John felt about you. You knew he trusted you, and you used that to help these people. And now they're using you. Quickly, tell me what you told them about John." "I don't know what you're talking about," Sarah says, and she starts to sob even harder. I can't help it. It kind of breaks my heart seeing her like this. What have they done to her? Her long hair covers her face and arms, and she looks so small and young. I feel my anger melt away, and I rest my hand on her back. "I'm sorry," I whisper. She catches her breath at my touch and turns her head to look in the direction of my voice. I can just make out her blue eyes. They're red and bloodshot. To give her the strength to do what we need to, I make myself visible for a split second, show her the Mog cannon in my hands, and disappear again. I see a tiny smile cross Sarah's face before she turns her face back to her knees. She sighs, takes a deep breath, and in a much firmer voice says, "It's good to see you. Do you know where we are?" "I think we're in New Mexico in an underground base. How long have you been here?" "I have no idea," she says, wiping away a tear that has fallen on her leg. I stand up and go over to listen at the door. I don't hear anything. I know I'm wasting precious minutes, but I have to ask. "I don't get it, Sarah. Why did you turn John in? He's in love with you. I thought you cared about him." She flinches as if I've slapped her. Her voice is wobbly when she responds. "Really? I have no idea what you're talking about, Six." I have to close my eyes and breathe a few times to keep my voice from rising, to keep my anger from returning. "I'm talking about the night he came over to profess his undying love for you. Remember? Your phone buzzed at 2 a.m. The police arrived a minute later. That's what I'm talking about. You broke John's heart when you turned him in." She starts to raise her head and to respond, but I make a noise to remind her to keep her head down. She resettles her head on her knees and speaks in a flat voice. "That's not what I was trying to do. I didn't have a choice. Please, where's John? I need to talk to him." "I'd like to talk to him too. I'd like to talk to all of them. First, though, we have to figure out a way out of here." My voice is urgent. She sounds defeated when she speaks again. "There is no way out. Not unless you want to fight 1,000 Mogadorians." "What?" I circle back to her. What is she talking about? This is a U.S. government facility, not a Mog base. "You've seen them? The Mogs? They're here?" A glazed look washes over Sarah's face. She no longer looks like the girl I met in Paradise, the human girl who John fell in love with and was willing to do anything for. I don't even want to think about what the FBI and the Mogs have done to her. "Yes, I see them every day." I feel as if the wind has been knocked out of me. It was one thing to suspect this was the case, another to have it confirmed. "Well, I'm here now," I announced, trying to make one of us feel more confident. "I promise the next Mog you see will have my foot up his ass." Sarah laughs quietly into her legs. Her shoulders relax a bit for the first time since I walked in. "Sounds good to me. Six, please, can you tell me where John is? Is he okay? Will I be able to see him?" I know she's worried about Four, but her constant questions about him are beginning to really annoy me. To be perfectly honest, I haven't seen him recently, Sarah. We split up. He went with Sam and Bernie Kosar to get his chest back, and I went to Spain to find another one of us. We were supposed to meet up in 3 days, but I don't see that happening right now. Where? Where are you supposed to meet? I need to know. It's killing me, not knowing where he is. Right now it doesn't matter where we are supposed to meet, because I won't be there, I explode. We need to focus on how we're going to get out of here. Sarah flinches at the anger in my voice. She tries again. "Where are the others? Where's number 5? Sarah asks. I ignore her. She is clearly not listening to me. I walk back to the door and put my ear to it again. I hear footsteps, definitely more than one person, coming down the hallway. I consider my options. I can either lure them into the cell, or I can take them down where they are. Either way, I know I need to deal with them, turn Sarah invisible, and pick a direction for us to run. Sarah stands up. What about number 7, number 8, and 9? Where are they? Are they together? If she doesn't quiet down, she's going to get us captured, or worse. I hiss at her. Sarah, and now, stop! I put my ear against the door again and instantly know something is wrong. It sounds like the hallway is packed with men. We're trapped. I spin around to tell Sarah, but she looks like she's in the middle of a seizure. I'm frozen, seeing her body convulse and flop around on the floor of the cell. Sarah! I let myself become visible and run over to her. Try to keep her head from slamming down on the cement floor. Has she been drugged? Sarah's body starts to shake so fast she becomes a blur. I can only watch helplessly as a white outline appears around her body. I reach out to touch it, but before my fingers reach it, the line turns black. I focus on Sarah with my mind to try and stop her convulsions with my telekinesis, but as soon as I try, my brain feels like it's burning, like an enormous amount of dark energy is invading my skull. The next thing I know, I am falling backwards, holding my throbbing head, my eyes squeezed shut. When I open them again, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Sarah Hart is growing taller and darker until she's at least 7 feet tall. Her blonde hair shortens until it's a short black buzz cut. Her face morphs into a demonic monster's. A purple scar appears on one side of her now thick neck. Then it slowly elongates until it reaches the throat. When the scar finally stops growing, it begins to glow. Did I just watch Sarah turn into Sitrekis Ra? I've never seen him, but I've heard enough to have a pretty good idea of what or who I'm looking at. The door bursts open and I am momentarily blinded by a flash of blue light from Sitrekis Ra. The next thing I know, a dozen Mog soldiers rush in, cannons up and ready. I try to turn myself invisible, but nothing happens. I don't have time to figure out why. I grab the cannon I had set down to help Sarah, jump up, and fire at one of the Mogs. He falls to my feet in a cloud of ash. I keep shooting, killing 2 more. But as I turn to find my next victim, I'm yanked backwards and choked by my pendant. I can turn my head enough to see I'm being held by the beast who once was Sarah. He spins me around, swats the cannon out of my hands with his other massive paw, and yanks me towards his face. Up this close, I can see his dark skin is a sea of small scars, like he's been raked by razor blades. I focus my mind on lifting my weapon off the ground, but it just sits there. None of my legacies are working. Without my legacies, I'm vulnerable. I'm worse than vulnerable, but I'm not giving up. Tell me where they are, Sitrekis Ra roars. He pulls my chain tighter around my throat. I watch his purple scar brighten as he asks, Where are they, number 6? It's too late, I whisper as bravely as I can. We're too strong now, and we're coming for you. Lorien will live again, and we will stop you. The slap is so hard that I can't feel the side of my face, and my ears are ringing. I force myself to keep staring at him. He curls his cracked lips to reveal 2 rows of sharp, crooked teeth. He's so close that my vision is slightly blurred, so I look for something I can concentrate on. I pick a tooth that's broken in half and leaking a thick black liquid. I'm not sure why, but this has the strange effect of making him less scary. It's just so gross. Tell me where you're supposed to meet number 4 in 3 days. On the moon, I say. You will die in front of them. I will kill you myself. I don't respond. I don't acknowledge he's even spoken as he tightens his grip. The pendant John and I found in the well in Ohio, the one that was on the massive skeleton, cuts into the back of my neck as it is pulled tighter and tighter. As he pulls the chain even more, I think of John's face as we trained together. I see the guards sitting around the white table on the ship, and I smile. I'm proud to have been chosen by the elders. Out of respect to them, I will not beg for my life. So there you are, number 6. I know the voice immediately. Agent Purdy. I open my eyes to see an old man. He has a cast on one arm and his face is covered in bruises. When he walks towards me, I see he's limping. When he gets close enough, I spit at his leather shoes. Sitrekis Ra laughs right into my ear. Agent Purdy looks over my head to speak to him. Did you get the information you were looking for? Do you know where they are? Setrekis Ra growls, and I'm whipped against the wall as an answer, my knees striking the cement first. When I hit the ground, I'm immediately pulled back to my feet by the pendant chain. I can feel my ribs have taken some of the impact. I think a couple of them are cracked. I'm having difficulty breathing. I try again to use my mind to lift the cannon on the floor, but it doesn't budge. So nice of you to join us here, Six, Purdy says. I see you've met Setrekis Ra. You're a coward, I whisper. Legacies or no, I'm going to take him down or die trying. Coward? You are the one who runs from me, Setrekis Ra objects dismissively. I stare hard into his maroon eyes. This is cowardly. You must think you won't be able to kill me if I'm at my full power, and that is what I call a coward. Setrekis Ra's scar glows again, the brightest yet. To my surprise, the chain around my neck loosens. Put her with the girl, he says, pulling the pendant over my head. My stomach drops when I see it hanging from his hand. He looks at me and smiles. I will fight you, Six, alone, and you will die, very soon. I'm dragged out of the cell, and the top of my feet sweep across the cement. Then something hard hits the back of my head. I close my eyes. Better for them to think I'm out cold, so it's easier to focus on where they're dragging me. 1 right and 2 left turns. I hear a door open and I'm pushed forward. I stumble until I hit something soft. I haven't opened my eyes yet when I feel arms wrap around me. When I open my eyes, I'm surprised, for the second time in an hour, to see Sarah Hart. Alright, so that was the end of chapter 24. We will pick up on chapter 25 in the next video. I hope you guys are still enjoying this series. I hope you love this book as much as I do. And thank you for being subscribed if you are already. And if you're not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay, until next time, Reading by Ree. Bye.